Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Neba, and welcome to the Board Game Gateway podcast. In this video, we'd like to present to you a segment from episode 08 of our podcast, in which myself, Ralph, Blake, and Matt all participated in a board game draft. The subject: who can create the best 5-game collection to present to a new player. We hope you enjoy this audio segment, and make sure you check the links that are down below, because you could be the deciding vote into helping us determine who had the best 5-game collection. We hope to see you in the comments and actually on our Facebook page as well. Check below, as I said, and we'll see you soon. And we are going to be moving away from that. Now we are going to be moving into our featured segment of tonight, and all four of us reach for our phones, our iPads, and we're going to need this one. So tonight we're deciding to do something that has been done in the board game podcast scene, but I decided, because NFL week is next week, and Blake and myself are actually in an NFL fantasy draft, but we decided that it's time to do a board game draft. And so some of you, if you're listening, may have heard this done by the Board Game Barrage boys. They've also done it and introduced the Shut Up and Sit Down guys. They did one at the All Shucks convention, and I saw that and I went, oh God, I'd love to do that.
That was really good,
Yeah, and so what we are going to be doing is we are doing our Gateway Game Draft. So what that is, a draft is basically, we have got a list of 150 games in front of us, which we have found from Board Game Gateway, Board Game Geek, and these are 150 Gateway games. The way that it works is, each of us...
We're not going to read 150 games.
No, we're not going to go through the games, we're not going to explain them all, but we're going to, essentially, we need to put together the best 5-game collection to introduce to a new player, to a new person, right? Now, the way that a draft works is that we go in a specific order, which we have here in front of us. I'll get it whilst I'm explaining it. And essentially, Matt is going to get first pick, followed by Ralph, followed by Blake, followed by me. That's going to be the first round, and then it's going to go back, me, then Blake, then Ralph, then Matt.
Snake draft.
It's called a snake draft, right? So Matt, you get the first pick. You get any pick you want, but whatever board game you pick, none of us can then have.
And I'll tell you what, at the end, when we're finished with the 20 games total, we're going to make a pokey rap style thing.
Oh God, don't put that pressure on me.
Alright?
I think I might be too old. What's a pokey rap?
Oh, don't.
Is it literally Pokemon rap?
Yes, that's exactly what that is.
Okay, cool. I'm not that old then.
Alright, but then what we're going to do is, we're each going to have our 5-game collection, and then at the end of it, we're going to then explain to you why, as we go, we're going to explain why we picked the games that we picked, and then we're going to put those games onto Facebook, and we're going to have you vote on who has the best collection. From there, we are then in the next podcast, we will reveal the results, and we'll see who the people think had the best collection.
Just to clarify for the people at home,
yes,
what is our team trying to actually become? Are we just
wanting... So you basically want to have the best 5 games that someone who may not be huge into board gaming would want to play, or someone who is, like for ourselves, go, that's the collection I would want to show to a new player. Mm-hmm. That's what we're trying to do at the moment. Okay. So whatever you pick is up to you. I feel like I'm actually, you may not be able to hear it right now, guys, but in my head, I can hear the NFL theme song just absolutely kicked into full gear. It just absolutely is fun. And don't worry.
Just splice it in.
Oh, don't worry. It's already playing. It's already playing over the top of us. Copyright be damned. We're not making money off this yet, so it's all good. So, Matt, with that, there is one exception, which is we are all allowed to pick one game that is not on this list. That is the only exception.
So where'd the list come from?
So the list came from Board Game Geek. I basically searched for best gateway games, and up to 2022, and I found a couple of good lists, and I amalgamated them together. I also went through a couple of other things. We'll put the full list on our website so people could see what we could have picked from, and then we will actually have the list of what we actually are picking from. Right. So, and what we are picked. So, and with that, our draft is now going to begin. Matt, you are first pick. You're the round 101. You're 101. Pick one. You have got 2 minutes on the clock, sir. You can have as long as you want.
I know where I'm heading.
You're going to have to explain. You take your pick, and then you explain why you picked that, and we'll go from there.
All right. My opening pick is Cards Against Humanity.
Cards Against Humanity.
Oh, no.
What a good... It's fine.
No.
Wait a minute. It's his pick. Let him defend himself.
I got a
Okay.
shit collection.
This is the Boardway Gate game. Board game. Great.
He's
Have
fit.
some more of the fireball, please.
No.
By your tongue.
Cards Against Humanity.
Cards
off the
Against
deck.
Humanity has to be in the collection. It's a game that you can pull out at any time. It's a game that gets people talking. You don't even have to play it to talk about it. Your mum can play it and you can get her to say some rude words. Everyone loves that. That's hilarious.
Right.
Sure, it spawned a bajillion unlicensed rip-offs. I gave my dad The Simpsons Against Humanity, and it's a terrible version of Cards Against Humanity. Certainly would never have been licensed by Fox, that's for sure. But it's out there in the public domain for some reason.
I would love to see that.
That's all right. All right. Well, we're not going to bag out everyone's picks right away.
No, you can bag it out. That's
No,
fine.
we'll save it until we have our full collection, and then I'll bag
Oh,
out. Because
right.
I'll bag out
We'll
your
talk.
collection.
We'll talk.
Don't worry, it's coming. I'm not
We'll
saying
have
off the
words.
hook. It's
I
coming.
know my audience, okay? So you guys go for your board game people. I'm going to go for the people who just
All
I'm
want
choosing Twilight Imperial.
That's right.
That's fine. All right. With pick one in the first round, Cards Against Humanity is off the board. Ralph, you are on the clock, sir.
Oh man, I tell you what, I've narrowed down my list. I have not ranked them because I don't know what you guys are going to take. And
Yep.
if you're still my number one, I'm going to be upset.
Well, you got to pick it. Come on. What do you got?
All right, I'll go my number one as being The Crew,
Ooh.
Quest from Planet 9.
Yep. Ralph takes his first pick.
Strategy card game for I think 2 to 5 players. We played it at 4, and it's just a fun game where you're silent and you're all critically thinking. You're all working out the puzzle individually, but also together. It's just an all-round great, fantastic card game. Love to show new people this game, even if you don't complete the campaign all the way to the end.
It's basically cooperative.
Hard.
500.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's a cooperative trick game. It's pretty
Yeah,
good.
it's a cooperative-
I really enjoy it.
cooperative
That's
card
a good
game.
pick. I
It's
really enjoy that. It's a really good pick.
So good.
All right, that's an interesting first pick from you. And now we move to round one, pick 3. Blake, you are on the clock with your first pick.
All right. Well, I think my first pick is going to be in a similar vein to Matt's in that it's a card game, simple that you can play. In this game, I first saw it at GooberCon when I first came, and it's honestly just impressed me with how easy to play, and it's The Mind.
Oh, that's a really good first
It's
pick.
just
Oh.
such a solid game. You have when I saw it at the table, there were of all ages, down from 5, 6, all the way up to
I think
your
100.
60s, 70s, exactly, from 1 to 100. It's it's just such a simple game that anyone can pick up and play, and just the moments that it creates are just
It is
Yeah.
tense.
Yeah.
I find the Ninja Star is really hard to teach sometimes, but it's such a rewarding game.
Definitely.
When you nail it.
Love it. All right. And that with that pick, which is an
It's a
interesting
powerful opener.
Now,
It is. That was solid. That
I'm
was
looking
solid.
at this going, so I'm on the turn here, so I get pick 4 and pick 5. So I'm just thinking about what you guys
This
have
is
all
neat. This is
gone.
where Nee gets one for himself and one to screw someone else over.
So
That's right,
I'm
yeah.
actually going to
In
go.
what order, though?
I'm
It could
just
be
looking.
it could
I'm
be a
just
double
I'm
screw
looking
here.
at some of the games that are here and going. I don't know, because this is the thing about being the first and last pick, Matt, which is that there is 7 picks
Yeah.
between my
Yeah.
my pick and your next pick. So that's why I've got to be careful about what I'm going to go here. And I think I'm going to open up with my first round pick. I'm going to go Unlock. I'm going to go the Unlock the Escape Room
Yep.
board game, which is, we have so many of these. We have literally had them since a long time. Now, we've only just put the single Unlock franchise
Yep.
in here because there are
Fair
so
enough.
many of them. But essentially, it is an escape room in a box that plays in about an hour. And we did this at GooberCon, where we had the escape room, where we basically said, here's all of our escape rooms, pick one. Okay, good, you're playing now, and shut the door on everyone for an hour. And then you weren't allowed to come out until the escape room was finished. I think, if I was going to introduce someone to board gaming, I mean, the fact that I can go, do you know what an escape room is? Great, we're going to do a board game version of it, and I think I can get them in. I think that's going to be my first pick. So that's my first pick off the board, and then I come into pick number 2 here, and I really have to... This is actually where I think is my hard pick, where I look at some of these games going, I don't know what is going to be coming back to me. So I think what I'm going to be going here is I'm going to go with a relatively new one, and I'm going to pick with my second pick, so the first pick of the second round, I'm going to be picking Just One. Just One
I knew.
is
God damn it!
because it is literally one of those games
This guy's playing to win.
I think we all scratched that off our list.
I think we all, because Just One is basically a game that we have chatted about on the podcast, but it is such a simple game. It's a cooperative game. I feel like I need to get a game that can get everyone to say, "Hey, we're not just against each other. We can play with
We should gateway game this one.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
No, we definitely
Yep.
will. That is absolutely on. It's on the list of all the gateway games that we need to go through. But Just One is going to be my second round pick because I wanted a game that would allow me to have a cooperative experience. So we'll talk about that more when we get to see our complete lists. Blake, with you though, your second pick of the second round, you were on the clock, sir.
All right. Well, the other game that always impressed me right from my first play, and which is a game I haven't actually played in person, but I would absolutely love to. Can't Stop. I've talked about it before, but
Oh, good pick.
it's just so simple, so easy to teach, so easy to play, but again, this creates those really high moments where you're just going and going until you can't stop, basically. It's
We've now all played it, and we all understand how good of a pick that is.
Yeah. I've been addicted to it of late. It's
really good. All right, that's a really good second pick, and with that we come to Ralph for your second pick.
All right, this is tough. Some really good choices already. Man, I think I just got to go the simple love letter.
Oh,
Classic.
Classic, where you get two cards, you do your one action, and it's just a bit of deception in a way, a bit of a guessing game, and you're knocking each other out, trying to be the last person surviving to win the point. Very simple card game. Played it so many times in my lifetime at cafes, like just anywhere. It's so quick to carry with you. Highly recommend people play this. I love teaching this game to people.
That's awesome. All right, Matt, we come to you for your second round pick and your third round pick. You get two in a row here. So has obviously, other than Just One, is what do you still got on the board there that you still want?
Well, it seems like everyone's now kind of changed their tact as to how they're approaching these.
I
picks.
never changed my
Yeah, you have. My second pick is going to be Quirkle.
I've never heard of Quirk.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Quirkle's a great game, especially in family situations. Good one where you can. It's a little puzzle builder, essentially. Kind of got a little bit of old school Rummy Cub feel to it, where it's colours and shapes. But it's a game that plays really quickly, learns really quickly. You can shaft other people without realising it or on purpose.
I do enjoy that.
That's right. Everyone enjoys a good shafting. And it's been, I think we've had this in the family now for good on 5 or 6 years now, and it comes out regularly at our house. So
Nice.
it has to be on the list.
Well, you also get another pick as well.
Oh God, I wasn't ready for another pick.
You get two in a row. Quirkle, pick number 2, and you're back on the board for your next pick.
I think I'm going to have to go with Queen Domino or King Domino. Which are they both on the list?
They are both on the
King
list.
Domino's
They
good.
are absolutely, because they are separate games.
Well, I'll put it as a King Domino. That's the one that we
The
played.
original
Yep.
one.
Simply because because I knew Blake would want it, but also that's one I've only played the one or the 2 rounds that we played a couple of weeks ago. I really enjoyed it. It'll be something that, once again, in the family sense, I could play with the kids. So I think that's been my entire approach really over the over this draft will be, what my collection would be if I wanted to play with the family, take away on a holiday kind of games.
Love it. I think that's a great selection that you've got there going. All right, so with that, we are now well and truly into the third round, and we come back to Mr. Ralph.
This is going quite quickly.
I know.
hope you guys
I told
enjoyed
you
it.
this would be good. Now, I don't know if anyone's going to use their wild card yet, or we're all saving that to
No,
the
I'm
fifth round.
saving
I
that.
think
I'm
most people seem
saving
to be
that.
saving that for
I
the
want
fifth
to
round.
steal other people's picks. I want a good shafting. I mean, I want to shaft someone else. Sorry, that came out wrong. That's what she said.
I'll get a lumber.
Okay, so I'm going to keep my theme here. My first 2 picks were good, solid card games. My third one is much the same. It is going to be Cockroach Poker. Mainly because I love lying to people. I do it just because and just to see if I can get away with it sometimes, and that's the perfect game for it. I played this game with my dad, and the premise of the game is you slide a card face down to someone, you tell them what it is, and that could be a truth or a lie. And there's so many suits in the game. One of the suits is definitely not a snake. There's no snake in the game. And my dad passed a card to me and said, Ralph, That is a snake. And I tell you what, that memory alone just has to be in my top 10 of board game things that happened to me. So cockroach poker is definitely up there for me.
Love it. I love it. That's great. All right, that's his third pick, and we move now to Blake for your third pick.
Look,
So there's some good collections here I can see coming through, so we got some good ones coming.
so my first two were definitely nice and easy, simple to teach games, but we all know that I'm a board gamer at heart, and
Nice.
at some point I'm going to have to get a board here on the table.
Oh,
We're getting
yeah,
to the
okay.
juicy end now.
I've gone easy. This one is a little bit on the harder side, but still one of those gateway games. Ticket to Ride. I have to take
I
it.
was gonna say I thought Ticket to Ride was coming out now. I was like,
It's just such a it introduces people to the idea of having board and pieces and figurines and be able to play with those. It's got the card element that people are familiar with. Nice and easy to teach. Doesn't play too long. And who doesn't like playing with trains?
Choo choo, motherfucker.
Exactly.
Choo choo.
Yep, this episode definitely has the expletive tag.
I just assumed, sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
Bleep it out.
We're drinking alcohol on here.
You're not my real mum. All right, now it's up to me at the end of the third, and so I get my pick here. And there's actually some really hard choices because I realized I'm only allowed 3 more games in my collection, and I don't know which specific ones. There is one that I keep coming back to, and I'm going to pick it now because I don't know if it'll come back. I'm going to pick the game with my third pick. I'm going to pick Cash and Guns. Now, Cash and Guns is a game that I did a print and play version of this, but the actual version of Cash and Guns comes with foam guns
I've got the
that you
actual
point at
version.
each
It's
other.
so
And
good.
Cash and Guns is essentially a bluffing game where it's like, hey, one of us is the boss, and then we all like there's treasure, and like we've all gone on a heist, and then we get into a Mexican standoff. And there is nothing funnier than seeing your mum pull a foam core gun and just point it at you and go, "Sorry, I want to kill you now." And at any point, it's just, I think this game will just for giving people a prop to play with. This is like, people are not used to like, oh, I can actually point this. It's not actually a gun. It has the silhouette of a gun for those of you listening, please. But it's honestly, it's a great game, and I think I needed something that would give those silly moments. And then moving on from here, I look at what my collection is currently, and I go, I do think I'm missing something which I do really like. And I think I'm missing I do really think...
He needs a fullback.
I really think
He's got a couple of good wingers, and now he needs a fullback on the team.
I do, and I think Matt's not going to be happy with me because I need a roll and write.
No.
I need a roll and write in my collection, and I don't have one.
Oh no, you're not going to do it.
You know what's coming. That's
You're not
pretty
gonna
clever.
do it.
It's going
He
at the
did
top
it.
of
He
the
did
fourth. That's
did
pretty
it.
clever. It's going into my collection at the top of the fourth, and because of
You just ruined my season,
There-
right?
There's a tear coming from Matt's eye
you
just
just
now. I
took
can
Tedesco
see
away
it.
from me, and now my team is completely ruined. Oh no, I gotta go. That's pretty clever. I need a roll and write in my collection, and I think there's nothing better than I think that one at the moment. There are other ones in there, but I do think this is probably the best one that I could probably go with. So,
Well, to
with
be
my
fair, you
fourth pick-
showed Matt this game.
I did.
Yeah.
I did, and
That doesn't mean anything. That's a bullshit
So it's a
excuse for
perfect
anything.
gateway
You
game.
had pick one. You had if you wanted it, you could have taken it. And it's like that
I've
was
been talking about it literally since we played it, right?
Hang on, you
4
took-
solid weeks of me playing this game, teaching other people.
I'm surprised you didn't take it at 101.
You
That's
took
not my
Cards
fault.
Against Humanity, man.
Yeah, you did take Cards Against Humanity in the first pick.
Mistakes have been made.
When the vote is cast, I'm winning this goddamn thing because of Cards Against Humanity. I guarantee
I
it.
will say there is a good chance that will pay out for you in the long run. But in saying that, we do have to move down into the fourth round, second pick. Blake, it is with you. You are on the clock.
Oh no, I'm not sure if I'm just ready yet.
Well,
But-
you got to
Look, I've been tossing up over this one because I've definitely got my fifth one that I'm bringing in, but I definitely have my gripes with this game, and I did express them on the night when Ralph brought it. But I'm a sucker for them high highs as my first two picks, and I've got to go with Galaxy Trucker.
Oh, that surprises me.
What I was not expecting you to
Holy
pick that
shit.
one up.
Like I said, I have my gripes with it, but for what the game it was easy to teach, it was easy to play, and I don't think I've had anywhere near as much fun as putting together those spaceships
That-
with people turning
Yeah.
turning those hourglasses
the-
and just.
Was that the last time the last game that we all played
I think
together?
so.
Yeah, it
so.
was. Yeah.
When I first played that game, I was just blown away as well, and I could not wait to play it again.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
so incredible.
definitely since that night I've been thinking about it. I have.
Solid, and unexpected, completely unexpected, but well done on that. All right, we move now to pick 403, the third pick of the fourth round. Ralph, you are on the clock.
Okay, I'm going to go with another card game because I actually expected someone to take this one, but maybe we don't have many big fans here. But Anomia.
Oh my! I was looking at Anomia. I didn't know.
So Anomia is just an incredible game. You don't even have to be a gamer to play it. You have one deck in the middle of the table. You can play, I think, with 6 people. You grab the card, put it face up in front of you, and there's a word and a symbol. And essentially, if someone else on their turn reveals a card and it's the same symbol as the one on your card, you just have to yell out a word that's on their card. Like if their card just says car and you say Volkswagen, you get the point. It's just so simple. Everyone's engaged the entire time you're playing it through. I've shown this to so many people. So many people that you think are like a little bit slow on the personal level. Like they're intelligent people, but they're quick at that game.
Yeah.
My goodness, it's just so many people have just blown me away playing this game. So Anomia,
This was
definitely
one
check
of those
that out.
games at a GubaCon. I remember just putting, like, Georgie, my wife, took it to a table that I didn't even know of people that were playing. And I just came out and they were just playing this game and laughing and yelling at this game. So
The laughter this game
It's a strong
generates
pick.
is unreal.
it's a very strong pick. And then, Matt, we come to you with
4 and 5.
4 and 5. This will round out your collection.
Right, 4 is code names.
Oh, yeah, that's a powerhouse pick right there. That's a very good pick.
This one actually has licensed editions that are still in the same genre. So unlike Cards Against Humanity, which had so much stuff going on. And I have to tell a very brief story about why I'm picking this one.
Please do.
Firstly, this is a game that I think, in the same way as Galaxy Trucker, it annoys me. When I've played this game, I have got more bad memories of this game than I do good memories, but I really enjoy the bad memories of this one, the frustration and the angst. But we played this at work once with a lady who, for no fault of her own, just didn't get games. She was the clue giver in the first one. We were just playing the pictures code names, and her first clue was shape. Literally every card has a shape of some sort, a circle, a square, a triangle, there's something, and I'm like, that gives me nothing. How many numbers are we going for? She 3 or something. I've pointed to a card, and it was the death card.
The assassin.
First round of this game, and I walked out, right? I left the office. I was so cranky. And as soon as I pointed, I see why you would have picked that one. I'm like, it's a fucking shape!
With the word square?
I don't know. I can't even remember what the clue actually was. But anyway,
It was probably shape.
it probably was. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah,
It was probably
Codenames
shape.
is a solid game. That's absolutely amazing.
And my last pick, I'm tossing up to round out my collection of, as I said, my theme of taking games away for a holiday. And I'm thinking I'm going to use my wild card to bring Space Base along with
You don't
me.
even need a
Yes.
wild card. It's on the list.
It's on the list?
It's on the list.
Oh, mate.
I was
5
already-
from 5. I didn't know if... I didn't
It's
think
already
it was.
there. Space Base, take it. There
Once
you go.
again, I haven't won a game of that, but every time we've played it, and I've only played it on... Oh, no, we did play it live. We played it here.
Yeah,
That's
we
right.
did.
We did get crack it out.
We are after the podcast.
That's right. And where Blake finally got his
The insta win
insta-win.
went down in
nice.
history.
But yeah, that would be a game that I could round out a night with once the kids have gone to bed, and for people who don't want to play the party games have petered out. You know, Tom, myself, my dad, we could probably gather around and get a craps table going with Space Base.
Yeah, easy done. All right, then we move to Ralph for your final pick.
All right.
Is he going with one on the list, or what are you bringing in?
No, this one's definitely not on the list. I had some backups just in case you guys stole my ones, but this one's definitely not on the list. So I mentioned this game on the podcast before, and I played this on my birthday with about...
Oh, I know what's coming.
Yeah, I played this on my birthday with about 14, almost, I'll say 12 of them were completely new players, and the opening script of this game is definitely a gateway, but the game is Blood on the Clock Tower.
Mm-hmm.
I am absolutely enthralled with this social deduction behemoth of a game, but it's absolutely incredible. You know, halfway through the game, everyone was getting it. The game itself our game went for 2 hours, but you can knock them out so much faster than that, and that's not dependent on the skill of the players. It's just amazing. Everyone came out of their shell. during the game. I've played this game with complete strangers at a pub, and by the end of it, you're like best of mates. You're laughing about what happened, and 10 minutes later, you jump into the next game. I'm actually being spoilt this weekend. On Thursday night, I'm going to the Powerhouse Museum, playing this game at a big conference, hopefully many times, meeting hopefully some celebrities there, celebrities for board games, that is.
The designer of Blood of the Catwalk will be there.
There's still celebrities in this realm.
That's true. We're celebrities as well, you know. We've got 100 plays.
We're the 17th ranked games podcast in Australia.
There you
go
go.
us, apparently,
That's
for this
it.
month. Apparently. Go
And
us.
so I'm playing it on Thursday night. Friday night, I'm running an event at Ingleburn Bowling Club, playing this game with people of the public. And I'm playing this game at a friend's 40th birthday on Saturday. Absolutely amazed with this game. Can't wait to play more of it. Can't wait to show more people this game. I would say it's my number one, but I kind of wanted to keep this one in my back pocket to get all my other real gateway games out there.
It's definitely a game that I'd really need to play. I mean, I've played one night. I've played, this game Town of Salem, which is most of the
I've
same.
heard of that.
Basically, it's Mafia. It's the same thing. Yeah.
But
Online, but there were always games that I've had gripes with, which this game seems to solve.
Because you don't die. You still, if you die in the game, you're still in the game.
Yeah.
You can still talk. You still figure out the puzzle. It's incredible.
All right, that's a big pick. And then from there we go to Blake for your final pick.
All right, well, this one
Are you bringing in one?
I'm also pulling from my back pocket. It's a game that I've played only once, but it definitely left an impression on me. Very similar in the vein of Anomia. Just a little bit one step up on the scale, I'd say, and it's the Chameleon.
I've never played that.
It's basically the same sort of deal. Very quickly, it's one person's deception game. One person's a chameleon. Everyone else is a regular player.
Have you played the Faker on Jackbox? If you've played
I've
the
played
Faker,
I've played them, but I can't remember.
if you've
that
played
one.
the Faker, you've played the Chameleon.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Everyone gets a set of card. Like a 3x3, I think it is.
Yep.
3x3 card with some associated words on it, and active player rolls 2 dice, which gets.
And the chameleon gets nothing.
Well, the chameleon gets a card, but it's different to everyone else's.
I see.
So the chameleon has to try and figure out what everyone else's word is.
Yep.
And try to fit in. And if by the end of it, once everyone's rolled their dice and gone, they have to pick out the chameleon. If they do, they win.
It's kind of like a simpler version of Spyfall, which is
Yeah.
where where everyone gets given the location and a roll at that location, and the spy just gets you're the spy, and that's it. You just have to try and figure out where you are based on.
And again, same as Ralph, I like lying to people. I like those deceit games, those trying to,
You're figuring it out, that puzzle together.
that puzzle,
Yeah,
exactly.
Everyone's
And,
a team and working it out.
it was a lot of fun. It's a game you can knock out very quickly, a lot of different rounds, and it brings a lot of fun to the table.
Yeah, my wife plays Faking It. The rules are a bit different, but
Oh my god!
She usually tunes out after an hour of the podcast.
she doesn't listen to this shit.
That's fine. After an hour, if she hasn't gotten a mention, she's gone to bed.
no.
So you're fine. You're fine.
Okay, all right.
My
wow.
I
God.
just go, come on, my friends and I, we're going to list our top 20 board games. It should be.
I felt that from here.
God, man.
We love you, Tina.
And this was the last podcast that Ralph joined us on.
Oh wow! Okay, now to awkwardly move us on to my 5th pick. All right, for the last pick of this draft, I'm actually not gonna pull.
See if you can insult your wife while we're at it as well.
I think it was more an insult to me, to be fair.
That. She can hear me. I'm actually not gonna pull from my back pocket. I'm gonna go. Shut up. It sounded like I'm not going to pull. Well, I hope not. I'm going to go for one on the list, and this one was a toss-up. I was either going to go Sheriff of Nottingham, which is basically bullshit.
Hey, you don't get 2 picks. You pick
No,
one.
I'm not. I was going to go this one. It was a toss-up between this one, a Sheriff of Nottingham, which is basically bullshit but themed for Robin Hood, but I'm not. And I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to go with the Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Yes,
I thought you'd go for that.
For my 5th pick. And I think it's one of those games that it is not going to leave my collection for 2 reasons. One, It's called The Quacks of Quedlinburg. And two.
Such a stupid name. It can't leave.
You know why they call him Skinny Pete, right? Because he's got a big nose. It's like, what does that even mean? But the main reason is because the game itself is basically I wanted a push your luck greed style game like Can't Stop, and essentially this game gives everyone that satisfaction of playing with this the push your luck style of game, whereas everyone pulls from their bag and pulls and sees how they go. I've talked about it before on the podcast, but I only ever play Quacks where everyone simultaneously reveals and actually shows each other. That is actually only in the game supposed to be done on the last round. Mm-hmm. I think it should be done the entirety way of the game. If it's not done, it loses something. But that's what I'm going to go with. And so with that, we are going to have a look at everyone's picks. Here we go. Matt, you had Cards Against Humanity, Codenames, King Domino, Quirkle, and Space Base. Ralph, you had Anomia, Cockroach Poker, Love Letter, The Crew, and Blood on the Clock Tower. Blake, you had Can't Stop, Galaxy Trucker, The Mind, Ticket to Ride, and The Chameleon. And I had Cash and Guns, Just One, The Quacks of Quedlinburg. That's pretty clever. And Unlock, the Unlock board game. The escape room board game. Some interesting collections there, gentlemen. Matt, I have to admit, I like your theme of taking away on a holiday, but what the hell was Cards Against Humanity? Pick one off the board.
Can you talk us through Cards Against Humanity?
As pick one,
please don't.
I'm genuinely curious.
It is a good all-rounder, right? And when I looked through the list, I was thinking that stuck out as something that might be on people's list as a SPAC filler, right? As we're playing it, and you go, all right, shit, my turn's coming up and I need something. Surely that would be something that you know. It's something that everyone's played. Even people who hate board games and don't listen to this podcast, they're jerks. They would have played that game and loved it. Yeah. So it just made sense to jump. And plus, as I said, it can be rude, it can be crude. You can play it with 50 people if you really wanted to.
I don't.
No, please don't. No more than 5 or 6. I've played it at 8, and even that was way too much. I understand the pick. I understand why.
Look,
but I don't agree with it. I don't have to like it.
I've got a very similar game in my collection called Pick Your Poison, and essentially it's the same sort of cards where you get one bad option and the other one's a worse option, and you got to try and split the room.
Yeah.
So it's very similar vibe to that, but I find it's a lot more hit rather than miss with the group because it's still a game in that.
I think as well, from my perspective, the theatrical side comes out, right? So when you're playing with people who have the delivery on the cards, it's a lot more funny than if you're just playing with standard Joes.
So, I will say I do agree that this is a game that you can get people in without realizing they're playing a board game. People say, is it actually a game? It's like, yes, it's a party game. It's fine. I agree. The one that does stand out for me, Blake, is your Galaxy Trucker pick. I honestly did not expect you to pick Galaxy Trucker. Look, I respect it. I'm
glad it's on the list, though.
It is. It's a fun game.
It was a toss-up, and my other pick, which I think would have been more what you were expecting, and it was definitely my special mention, is Coup.
I was surprised you didn't pick Coup.
I do love me a game of Coup, and the only reason I didn't pick it is, look, maybe I'm just a terrible board game teacher. I've never successfully gotten this to the table and taught people and had them enjoy it.
Yeah.
For me, again,
that sounds right.
I've had the same.
Maybe that's just me, but the rules
it.
just seem to be just that little bit one layer too deep for some people.
Yeah.
The iconography and all, it just seems to turn some people off straight away. Mm-hmm. And for that, normally it's definitely up there as one of my favorite games, but as a gateway game and getting people into it.
Exactly.
Chris is not going to like the fact that you didn't pick Coup and you said that, because that's Chris's favorite game is Coup.
Well,
my brother.
Chris can teach it.
It's got the same. It's got the same vibe as that political one we played, right? If you get a bad run of cards, you don't enjoy that first game. Yeah. It's really tough to then come back to.
But you need to learn to bluff.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? If you're playing with new people to a new game, and their first, we talked about this, their first instance with the game is, not only did I lose, but I felt like as soon as we started playing, I was always going to lose.
Yeah.
It makes it rough.
And I feel like with Love Letter, there's just that little bit, there's a bluff game to it, but there's also
It's a softer side to it.
It's very simple.
and it's
very
a bit
simple.
more puzzly where this card beats this card, and sort of
Yeah.
you're drawing through the cards rather than these are my cards, they're set. And I feel like some people don't quite get the bluffing part
That's
of it.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just I've only got the captain, so I can only do that action. Like
They don't know you can do anything. It's just-
exactly. So it takes.
Yeah.
I think it takes the right people to get it to the table. And when it's at the
Definitely.
table, it's absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite games, but.
teaching a new player. It's
That's
not
the
yeah.
reason I had to go Galaxy Truckers. I think as a game, just getting people to the table, that's going to elicit a lot more fun from people
Yeah.
and a better response.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. One game I'm glad that's actually in our collections is Quacks of Quedlinburg because I swear, I feel like every second episode of this, someone mentions Quacks, and I'm like, surely we've all got that at home.
I feel like looking at my collection, I go, is my collection the basic bitch of this collection? And it almost feels like
Look,
a
with
little
just one, and that's pretty clever in the same run.
Yeah, but obviously they were for different purposes, right? Unlock.
I get it.
Just One is the cooperative game. That's pretty clever. Was my roll and write. Cash and Guns was because I think it's a hilarious game where you get to point a gun at people, and anything that puts people in a situation where they don't normally think of a board game of doing that. Like, hey, we're gonna do Mexican standoff, the board game. I think that's fantastic. I will say, Ralph, the Crew. Whilst I love the Crew, I actually tried teaching this game to my wife and my cousin, both of whom love playing Up and Down the River. They love playing 500 trick-taking games, and this one bounced right off them. They
Really?
did not think that they did not find their way into this game. They're like,
didn't click.
they understand trick-taking, and they understand that, hey, like the mind, you're not allowed to talk in this game, but they bounced right off this one, much like that it just did not click. Even though they understood what they were trying to do, they're like, this isn't appealing to me of trying to do a cooperative trick taking. They would much rather be trying to win the trick if that was the case, and they just seem to bounce right off of it.
That game for me, the simpler levels are just literally very simple, but at like mid game it starts to get really complex, and you're stuck with that same challenge, and you beat that together as a team after failing 5-6 times. It is so rewarding. I didn't like the second version of this game.
Deep Nine.
I can't,
that what it is?
It's like Deep Sea. It's
Deep
like
Sea-
they
Deep
went
Sea
underwater
Adventure or
with it.
something,
But essentially, the mission gets reshuffled after you lose, so it didn't really have that same grind for it. But
I will ask the
yeah.
question though: do you think that particular grind though, where you say, well, there's the success of the mid game to get to the mid game would take you about 4 hours?
But
so
the thing is, you
you've
can
got
just skip it. You can just start from level 20 if you want. If you
yeah,
feel like it's too easy.
that is true. But I also do feel like people who are new to the board game, they would probably go, well, I have to start at level 1 and try to get their way through. And
Yeah, but if they're smashing it, why not just, no one's
yeah,
getting
I mean,
Looking at the list, I think every one of us has picked a group of games that reflects our own
Definitely. And-
upbringing with games and really where we sit with things. Like I've gone very anti-competitive in a lot of ways, right? There's not a lot of backstabbing in my games because that's not my style of game.
Yeah, I've
at
noticed
all.
that, yeah.
It's interesting how we've
like
our
quirky
lists.
games,
Yeah.
as he says, as he has Quirkle in his list.
See, I love to see people how they're not normally. Like, I love a puzzle, so a lot of my games are really puzzly.
Yeah.
A lot of my games revolve around laughter. And Blood on the Clock Tower's got a bit of all of that. And also, it's got that thing where you put someone in the position where you're like, I think Matt's the demon, I'm going to nominate him. And then he has to defend himself and turn that around and just using conversation. You know, there's no facts there. There is sometimes, but a lot of time you see people under pressure. And it's quite fascinating to see.
All right. Well, look, we could argue about our collections all night, but I think realistically,
I'll turn it over to the people.
we have to turn it over to the people
to
here.
democracy.
So on our Facebook page, once this podcast goes live, there is going to be a post that's going to be pinned at the top of our Facebook group with these collections there, and it's up to you to decide who actually has the collection. Now, from a voting standpoint, it can be which one you think you just like the most, which one you think would like to play, or if you are no board games, what is the collection that you would like to introduce to a player? Take your pick. We want to hear from you. You're the one who's going to determine which one of us is going to take the inaugural victory of this draft. And this is not the only thing we're going to be doing that's competitive. We are going to come up with some different, maybe some more drafts for different variations, but also different competitive aspects from this point. So for
Definitely. And I think I want to hear what the viewers think.
Yeah.
If we can get the list out there, we can see what the viewers' top 5 games are.
Yeah.
And maybe, who knows, maybe we'll bring back the Glyn Bros tourney, Matt, and maybe actually do a board game knockout and actually do a live stream one night and go, these are the games, what would you rather play or something, who knows. Maybe we'll do that. But those lists will be live there, so we'll go through them one final time. Matt had Cards Against Humanity, Code Names, King Domino, Quirkle, and Space Base. Ralph had Anomia, Cockroach Poker, Love Letter, The Crew, and Blood on the Clock Tower. Blake had Can't Stop, Galaxy Trucker, The Mind, Ticket to Ride, and The Chameleon. And I had Cash and Guns, Just One, The Quacks of Quedlinburg, That's Pretty Clever, and the Unlock series. I got to admit, my Cash and Guns pick, I think it's letting me down. I'm not confident in it. But
That's a really good game.
It's a good game, but I don't know if it'll get me there in the end. But anyway, with that, that's going to pretty much bring us to the end of this episode. We've had our chat, we've had our draft, we've had our Fireball whiskey. Maybe we'll have another.